Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another Guilherme Bilinski Art model, and this is one that I've already reviewed a figure from. This is a line I've reviewed a figure from, which I have previously reviewed the Littlefoot model, but as you can see, we have a Land Before Time Spike here, a Stegosaurus figure to take a look at, and that is incredibly cool because we really don't get anything from Land Before Time anymore. And I mean, we've had some stuff released in the past, but I feel like we've never really had good high quality models for the Land Before Time. And if you are around my age, grew up around the time I did, you know, Land Before Time was definitely something special to you, especially if, of course, you were a fan of dinosaurs. So having these really cool, really high-quality models released by Guilherme Bilinski Art is incredible, and now we have, again, just another dinosaur here to add to that pack from Land Before Time, or I should say group, I guess. So, without further ado, let's jump straight to a closer look at this beautiful Spike right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Spike, you can see straight away that Guilherme Bilinski Art is so good at sculpting these out to look exactly as they do in the film. Again, he's captured that animated likeness so perfectly. On top of that, he's also captured that sort of goofy look that you get from Spike quite often, where you have the tongue kind of hanging out there, out of the side of his mouth, kind of giving him that sort of puppy-like look, like they, seem to portray him very often in the film as. And then you can see again that we've got some nice color variation to Spike. You've got the nice darker green, which perfectly replicates the green we see on him in the film. You've also got this lighter tone here on the lower jaw, leading down along the underside. You've got a little bit of hanging skin right there, but you can also again see that the inside of the mouth, well, maybe you could, has again that kind of animated sort of look where you don't see too much detailing, but it looks realistic enough, and you can again see that he's added kind of a slight satiny look to the tongue as well. The nostrils are sculpted out here and highlighted very nicely with a darker tone, and you can see the eyes are painted with a purplish tone, given a black pupil as well as a nice white spot there to give us that realistic eye shine. Extremely nice looking paintwork for the eyes. We can also see a darker tone there for the eyelids of our Spike, and you can also see again as far as like if this were drawn, you could see like the lines and stuff, and he's highlighted them all perfectly with a darker tone to make it literally look like it has just jumped straight off the screen. It's so incredibly impressive how good he is at creating these Land Before Time models. As you move back, you can see Spike's ear. You can also see a few creases right there back behind the head, again also nicely highlighted with that darker tone. As you lead down into the arm, you have that very goofy looking arm sculpt, which again is that kind of animated style, perfectly replicated again by Guilherme. You've got the elbow present there on the back of the leg, and a really nice looking foot sculpt with, of course, those larger feet, and you can see the nails are painted very nicely with a light grayish tone. We've also got a few creases right there, and you can see just how careful and precise the paintwork of Guilherme is. Like, he is just so good at this. As you lead up here along the back of our Spike, you can see the plates beginning to pick up. Of course, Spike is a baby, so he doesn't quite have the plates sticking out as far as what you would see when it comes to an adult. And you can also see this area here kind of running down the spinal column, and it's all painted really nicely with a very dark tone, and also, again, sculpted to perfection. As you lead down here into the side of the stomach, you can very clearly see that Spike is a pretty well-fed baby. He's definitely got some girth to him. You can also see more of those lines here moving along the underside of the stomach here, leading up with that lighter tone. And then we've got this big rear leg. You can obviously see Spike is walking as the foot here is just lifting up off of the ground to take another step. And again, you can see the knee as you move down. You've got that really nice foot sculpt, again with the nails painted with that light gray. And then you move out into the tail, and you've got that big bulky tail that you do see on Spike, as well as his little thagomizers out here that are just starting to pop up. And then if you look here at the underside, again, it looks super, super cool. Again, absolutely incredible. And I love that you can even see like the skin pushed in here when it comes to the movement of the leg. So adding in realism, even if it is kind of replicating an animated version of a dinosaur. And then if you look over here at the opposing side, you can again see that very goofy look on the face of Spike, as well as, again, all the same style of sculpt and paint that you had seen on the initial side, except over here, obviously, the legs are closer together since the other legs are further apart, and we are kind of portraying Spike in a walking motion, so that's exactly what you would expect to see. We've also got a little turn in the ankle right there, giving him again that sort of goofy childlike look, and you've also got a turn in this ankle kind of leading out, and of course you can see the elbow, the knee, all of that stuff, even creasing in the back of the knee. So it's absolutely amazing, honestly. Like, when it comes to a Land Before Time model, it does not get better than that. And then we've also got a little base here for our Spike, and you can see it's just a nice little earthy area, again painted very nice and realistically with some variations of brownish tones. There's also a nice dark wash that's been added. We've got a few pebbles and stuff here that you can see on the base as well, and again, the overall texturing and everything looks really good. It's kind of like a little ledge. You can see Spike is sort of walking up on a ledge, which is also cool and differentiates it from some of the others that are in this line. And then you, of course, have this black kind of like circular base down here underneath our earthy area. And you can see, again, Guilherme Bilinski and the fact that this was sculpted last year in 2022. And the underside has a really nice soft feel, so it doesn't damage anything that you put it on. So let's get Spike back on the base, and then we'll get a size and check Spike out next to Littlefoot. As far as a size goes for Spike from the tail to the snout, you're looking at a little over 4 inches, maybe approaching 4 1/4, but not quite there, or about 10.5 centimeters. As for a height, of course, this is Spike up on the base, so it would be a little bit shorter if it were down on the ground. I would say about 2 3/4 inches or around 7 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to Spike. And you can see, as you would probably expect, Spike is a bit on the smaller side. I definitely didn't expect him to be very large at all. And this is, of course, since I already have prior knowledge of the size of these with Littlefoot, I knew roughly what the size would be, but without seeing any review of Littlefoot, if you happen to have missed that video, then hopefully this will help to give you an idea of a size here for Spike. Then we've also got a comparison here between Littlefoot and Spike, and you can see how they size up next to each other, and man, do they look absolutely incredible together. They really do. I just absolutely love this line. I think it's just so cool to have, very high quality models of the Land Before Time characters, and you can see 2 of them here, which are perfectly done. And I don't feel like we need to do too many comparisons this time around. You can very clearly see this is on the smaller side. But for one final comparison with some more randoms, we have the Safari Ltd Utyrannus and the Schleich Diabloceratops stepping in here for a comparison next to Spike. So this brand new Guilherme Bilinski Art Spike, the Stegosaurus from the Land Before Time model, is awesome. And if you are a fan of the Land Before Time like I am, you really need these models in your collection. They are just the best models that I've ever seen when it comes to the Land Before Time. Not that there's a whole lot out there to choose from, because again, there really isn't much going on when it comes to that stuff. Like, there are some pretty cool toys and stuff that we had a ways back, but none are what I would call very high quality, not even remotely close to the quality that you see here on these Guilherme Bilinski Art versions. And Spike, again, looks pretty much like he was just grabbed straight from the screen and brought here onto my review station. The sculpt is absolutely perfect in every way. The proportions are exactly as you see on screen. The general appearance to the fine detail and everything is just exactly as you see on Spike, as are the tones of color used. He's really done a great job of matching up the coloration and the general appearance to Spike in the Land Before Time perfectly. He has even given it that kind of dopey, somewhat goofy, puppy-like look there with the tongue hanging out. And the eyes are just so chill, but a little bit almost lost looking, because that's usually how Spike is presented in the film. So again, as far as this goes, I can easily say this is perfection when it comes to a Spike model, and as is the Littlefoot that we've already taken a look at in the past. So if you are interested in grabbing one of these for yourself, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that from Guilherme Bilinski Art. And I will, of course, include contacts to him on both Facebook and Instagram. But if you do not have social media, you can contact me at my email, which will also be in the description, and I can contact him for you to help you get an order in, for you to include some Land Before Time models from Guilherme Bilinski Art in your collection. So make sure you do that. Make sure you grab this beautiful Spike, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.